be curious. I think people in marketing that really thrive in this business are lifelong learners. They ask good questions. They're always intrigued by the brand and the brand challenges, as well as those that we are talking to. What motivates them, what scares them, so it takes a lot of curiosity to really do your best job in terms of marketing. That said, I also think you have to be uncomfortable with what you don't know. You can be curious, but if you're not uncomfortable enough to ask the question, you're not embracing that ability to be uncomfortable enough to ask the questions, it kind of doesn't really reach its full potential.
Be humble. Don't be afraid to say you don't know. It's okay to raise your hand and say, I don't know, and sort of, together think about how you can solve a problem. So I think that's one thing. Another thing is relationships really carry you forward. So build bridges versus burn bridges. And third, build confidence with finance. The finance team, which typically holds the purse strings to budgets, and kind of bring them along on the journey around marketing, and show them the confidence that, hey, marketing is doing the right things, spending efficiently in the right ways. And you do that by just sort of partnering with them and kind of being part of an extended part of the finance team.
There's a sentiment out there that you should be really intentional about the decisions you make in your career and the opportunities you take. And I will be honest, I didn't do that as much. I just said, what is the next opportunity in front of me where I feel like I could learn? And I do think you have to be thoughtful and strategic about how that maybe ladders up to your greater goals. But I think a lot of times people shy away from new opportunities or taking on a new role or a new challenge because they're not quite sure how it fits into the grand scheme or the picture they've painted for their career. But in my experience, very little new exposure or new experiences going to not behoove you long term because it makes you more well-rounded. And so for me in my career, I've always just been the one to raise my hands and say, let me give it a shot. I think I can do that. And not be afraid to ask for help, but be more aggressive and say, like, why don't you take a chance on me? See if I can pull it off, and teach yourself. And I think that really sets you up for success in the long run.
Go stand in the environments in which your customer is actually buying. And again, this is very B2C. But definitely applies to B2B as well with respect to understanding who your customer actually is. And so I actually stood in Walmarts and drugstores around where I lived, and essentially just asked questions of people who were buying the product. And it was at that point where I realized that people are not buying products, but they're buying solutions to their problems, and they're buying for a need to satisfy something that they have a need for. So it is not just the product, it is really the need that you're fulfilling. So talk to the need, don't sell the product.